One of the more common and misunderstood coverages within the commercial insurance world is employment practices liability. I think when we think about this, we think this is only needed for larger organizations, maybe 100 employees or more, or something like that. Well, I think it's commonly misunderstood, especially in a world that's becoming ever more litigious. And so I just want to take a few seconds, a few minutes, and break down employment practices liability for y'all. The old employment practices liability policies basically used to cover if you did something and your employee brought suit against you. So it could be a wrongful termination suit, it could be a harassment suit, it could be an age discrimination suit or something like that. That was the misconception that people have, is that that's the only thing that these policies cover. And it's also a bit of a misconception that, we're only going to do this because it covers the owners, right? So the owners of the business are going to be covered if something like this happens, and they're the only ones that we need to worry about doing this. And since I'm the owner of the business, I'm not going to harass anyone, so I don't need that coverage. Well, the reality is that employment practices liability suit provides defense for the business, even if a suit is brought against one of your managers or another employee. So, for example, if I have an employee that comes to my HR manager and they say, hey, I'm being harassed by my immediate supervisor, there's going to be a suit that stems from that, and the employment practices liability policy is going to pay to help defend that suit. The other thing is, and it's similar to what we talk about in some of the other policies, is that if you don't have that employment practices liability policy in place, there's no defense coverage if you do get a suit gets filed against you for an employment practices claim. So a lot of times with liability policies, the best thing that we can get out of it is the defense, because we may not be guilty of harassment or wrongful termination, but that doesn't stop somebody from filing suit. And the normal general liability policy excludes employment practices, so you're not going to have any defense under your general liability policy. The other thing we need to think about is, OSHA tells us that we need to provide a safe work environment for our employees. So what does that mean? Well, I think it could be interpreted that means free from harassment, free from discrimination, and those sorts of things. In the new policies that we're seeing on the market right now, there is a third-party coverage in those, meaning I may be fine. I may be an office of 10 people, and we're very close, and we know everyone's background and all those sorts of things. So really the exposure for an internal employment practices claim is very slim. However, we have contractors that come in. Maybe it's our electrical contractor or our cleaning contractor, or maybe it's the folks that plow for us, or maybe it's even a client that comes in and either harasses or discriminates against one of our employees. The new policies actually can provide coverage for third parties. So meaning that if you have an employee that's sitting at their desk and they feel like they're being harassed in some way by a client that comes in or a vendor that you have that comes in, they could still file suit against the business for not providing a healthy and safe workplace and for discrimination. And so that employment practices liability policy could actually defend you against a claim against a contractor of yours, so that the contractor is the one that was doing it, you get named in the suit, and there can actually be coverage that's provided for that. As we go forward, we'll continue to delve into some of these topics that many of you have questions about with regards to insurance and liability coverages. Until then, you can check us out on our YouTube channel, Karis Insurance YouTube channel. You can check us out on our website at www.carisins.com. That's CHARISINS.com. And we'll continue to delve into some of these topics over the coming days, weeks, and months.